Hi and welcome to Polly Puts the Colour On. In today's video I'm going to be sharing a little review of these DecoTime products here. I will move them out of the way in a second so that you can see them a little bit clearly. As you can see, I've got a few different sets going on. Some are just alcohol markers and some are kind of glitter and metallic ones. I purchased them all from B&M. As you can see, the prices are on there, so we can get into that as we kind of unbox them and look at them together. I believe the DecoTime products though you can buy elsewhere, like in a range in the UK, and I think you can probably also get them in other countries as well. So I have already swatched them all and I'll share those swatches with you, and then I thought at the end I'll show colouring in a kind of cute and comfy kind of style book, so that I can talk about how they actually feel on the kind of paper that you're probably likely to be using these on. So the first set that we'll have a look at is these 40 twin markers. They were only £15. So you may have already seen on the channel that I've had a video about the Works alcohol markers, and that was a smaller set for more money. So actually I think these ones are far better value than the Works ones, and when we get into it later I'll talk about why as well, because I think the quality actually of these ones is better. So there is a brush and a fine end as well, which I was quite excited to see because this is actually my first set of brush tips for alcohol markers. So as you see, it is a massive set. What I've done is I've done get them the right way around, because there's 40, I kind of numbered 1 to 20, 21 to 40 on the bits of card. So I looked at them and thought, oh, there's no numbers, and then actually once I started getting them out of the packet I could see that on each end there is a number. So that's why on the other end I've also put the numbers, but I thought actually it might be useful for me to have just the 1 to 20 as well, just to make it a little bit easier, because obviously when they're in the case you can't see the numbers. But this case is really good. The pens don't fall out. They're not really difficult to get out, maybe a little bit fiddly, but you know, they don't hurt my fingers. I've not broken any nails or anything. And actually for traveling might be quite useful because it has got the nice little clips to fasten them. So as you can see, there is a really nice range of colours, lights and darks in kind of all blues, greens, yellows, pinks, you name it. There's quite a good selection. A few greys, not too many, which gives room for having some other really pretty colours. So I'm really pleased with these. They have got a lovely brush tip at one end. Trying to get the camera to focus. And then the other end is just kind of the standard fine tip. As you can tell, they're not impossible to get off. They give a nice good click, so they shouldn't be drying out on you. And when I swatched them out, I was really pleased with how the brush felt. Like I said, I've never had any brush tip alcohol markers before. So obviously the brush tip ones are normally more expensive than just the chisel and the fine tip. So I think for £15 these are a really good addition to my collection, and I'm really pleased to have them, and I definitely recommend these to others. And especially if you were looking for a present for somebody, these make a lovely present, not too expensive, would give them a nice range of colours to use. So I'll just move these out of the way and then we can look at some of the other DecoTime products. Now when I bought them in the shops I thought, hang on a minute, they kind of look a little bit similar to what's maybe in these, but obviously couldn't really tell until I opened them up when I got home. So for this set there's 36 pens. It does say about there being 72, but what it means is there's obviously the double ends of the pen, so actually it is 36 pens for £12, but it is in a nice little stackable trays. So if I open it up you can see that there is numbers on the end. And if I carefully slide it out of the box, you can see that it's in this nice sturdy, it's not going to fall apart on you, nice sturdy tray that has got the little bobbles on so that it is stackable with the other products. So this is hopefully going to fit quite nicely on my desk, out of the way, so that I can grab them to use them. Now, I didn't notice, it does kind of say on the packaging, but obviously I didn't notice while I was in the shops. some of the, so these ones here are alcohol markers, then you've got glitter, then you've got metallic. Now some of these alcohol markers are also in this set that I just showed you, so I have got duplicates of a few. So on my swatch, what I've done is I've just put a little dot next to the ones that I have got duplicates for. So this is a complete swatch for all of the pens that is in this set here. So we've got the alcohol marker one there, the glitter ones, and then the metallic. The alcohol markers, these ones are exactly the same as the ones in that packet that I just showed you. Lovely flexible brush tip. Nice good click when you put the lids on. Now the only drawback I can see on some of these pens, not the alcohol markers, had absolutely no issue with any of the alcohol markers, nice and juicy but not too juicy, didn't get any mess. You might be able to see there's a slight spillage from some of the caps as I took the lids off some of the glitter, and especially the metallic ones because they were quite juicy. When I took the lid off, it kind of splattered everywhere. So I was quite glad that I was just swatching in this notebook that I keep some of my different swatches in, because it would have been gutted if that had gone on a colouring page, because it might have been quite difficult to cover up. So it might be worth remembering, you know, when I use these, I'm going to have to do it off to the side, make sure I'm over a bit of scrap paper, just so that I don't make a mess everywhere. But they are really pretty. For the metallic ones, I did the brush tip and the fine end as well. I think the fine tip works a bit better than the brush tip. I don't think I'll use the brush tip on those ones. And the paper on this is probably similar-ish to like the thickness of an Amazon printer, but maybe even slightly thinner. Obviously the alcohol marker's gone straight through, we knew that would. The glitter marker has a little bit, and then the metallics kind of ghosted on some of the colours. So I think if I'm going to use these in double-sided books for the glitter and the metallic, I'll need to double check on, you know, on a taster page in that book, whether the paper can cope with it. But I might well just stick with using these ones in my single-sided books just for safety. But it's a nice range of colours, and I do really like how it's stackable. I mean, you can stand it up if you'd rather have it stood up. But I do quite like the idea of having it stackable. So that was the 36 set, where it's got 12 alcohol markers, 12 glittery ones, and then 12 metallic ones for £12. And then I bought these little sets. These were each £5 each. So I got 10 glitter ones. It's got kind of reds, orange, pinky, purple kind of colours in. And then 10 glitter ones. It's got kind of purpley blues and greens in. They are the same shape, style and everything as out of the other stackable tray. So I'll show in a second, they should nicely stack on. And then got 10 of the metallic ones. So I will show you the swatches that I did of all of these. Excuse my writing, I neatly wrote out 1 to 10 and then realised I started swatching them backwards and didn't want to rip the page out of my book, so hence slight scribbles there. But I can understand what I've written, it's fine. So the metallic ones there, the glitter ones, as you can see, some of them, like that one at the bottom, quite nice and glittery. This one up at the top, I can't see any glitter in that whatsoever. It's very pretty colour, but no glitter there. These ones, some again are more glittery than others, like that one there. I can see a very, very slight sheen when I'm looking at it at a certain angle, but there's basically no glitter in that one. So the pretty colours, I'm not sure whether I'd bother rebuying the metallic and the glitter ones when they're used up. They were nice to buy. I'll see how I get on with them in my books. You know, if I use them and use them up and I really like them, I might rebuy them. But I can see me repurchasing the alcohol markers, particularly if I use up any of these out of this set. I could see me buying this again at this price, and that seems like an absolute bargain. And if I end up with empty spaces in this stackable unit, say once I've used up the glitter and the metallic ones, if I've got empty spaces, I could transfer over the alcohol markers out of this set into this stackable unit, because they'll obviously fit, they're the same size, same shape and everything. So that might be an option for me in the future, but it will be a while, I imagine, before I use them up. You know, you've got to really use pens, haven't you, before they'll actually run out. So let's get these metallic ones out of the box. So these, it does say, are water-based, although as you can see from the swatch, there is quite a lot of ghosting. It is thin paper in this notebook, but I'm obviously going to need to be careful where I'm using them. So let's just see how well it fits on top of these. Yep, no, that's really easy. I can push that now and it is not coming off from that set at the bottom, so that's really nice. So let's move that packet out of the way. Then I'll get these glitter ones out. We can just see how well it goes stacking on top of each other. So this is a really nice idea, actually, that they are all nice and stackable. You could buy them in, you know, you could buy a pack a week, pack a month. Oh, would help if I had it the right way around. There we are. So that's nicely clipped on. And then the last pack can go on top. So yeah, it's always nice with collections where you can build them up as money allows. And it is really nice that now that does not take up an awful lot of space on my desk at all. Like, that's my hands, and I don't have particularly big hands, and it's tall, but it's not too bad. And I can, if I'm careful, I could turn it that way if I wanted to, but I might well just keep them like that now. So what I thought I'd do is I will use some of the pens out of this stack, but I might also use a few of the alcohol markers out of this book as well. And I'll just colour, maybe not a whole page, but I thought I'd colour a little bit out of this Cozy Escapes Cute and Cozy colouring book by Colouring Book Cafe, so that we can get an idea of how these pens actually work on Amazon print paper, because let's face it, that's what most of us are going to be using our alcohol markers on pretty much, aren't we? So I haven't done the book belong to page yet, so we'll have a little play on there. So I'll use a couple of the alcohol markers first. So I'll just pick a couple of the greens, a light one and a slightly darker one. So I'm going to use the brush end. Like I said, this is my first ever set of alcohol markers with brush tips, and I can see why people really like them. I do love my ohuhu pens with the chisel tip and the fine tip, but I'm going to be interested to see how well I can do different textures using the brush tip, because lots of the videos I've seen where people are showing like the different techniques of adding, you know, the textures to, I don't know, different materials and, you know, plants and things. It's been people using brush tips, so I don't know whether that's going to make it easier or whether it's just that everybody buys the brush tips, but actually maybe the fine tip works just as well. So actually, I think for me, because I'm used to having the tip, I'm kind of struggling to get a really fine line with the brush marker, even though I know I've seen people doing really fine details with these. Obviously need a little bit of practice, but they feel really nice. Obviously it has gone through. It was obviously going to be alcohol markers, but they feel really, really nice on the paper. Said obviously recently I have done the review of the Works pens, and to be fair, you know, there's nothing wrong with those. They are quite nice pens. I have used them since. I coloured a page out of Cozy Eras recently and pretty much just used the Works pens. Grabbed a couple here and there out of my ohuhus for like colours that I was missing, but you know, they're nice pens. But I think actually compared to these ones, I think these are much better value, and the fact that they've got the brush tip as well is really good. So that's a couple of the greens there. Let's use, see if I've got a nice brown for the little coconuts. So I'll have a look out of the bigger set here. So obviously they are the same alcohol markers. So let's have a look. I might go for this one. So although it is number 255, how I've numbered it, I know it's pen number 3 down in the tray. So for me, that's quite useful actually for finding it without having to lift it up and double check what number's at the end. So I'll just do a little bit here, and then let's get a couple of the metallic and the glittery ones out. So that's another alcohol marker used again, really, really nice. They are triangular as well, so they do feel really nice and comfy to hold. And let's have a look for a couple of glittery ones. So maybe let's make the maracas glittery. So the kind of a glittery kind of pinkish red colour here. I'm going to be careful to open it off to the side just in case. So I'll try the fine tip on this. And then we can check in a second how the back's looking, if it's ghosted through, if it's leaked through or anything. And maybe let's use a metallic as well. I've got a metallic that's kind of brownish, bronzish kind of colour. Again, I'll use the fine end. I think looking at this, I think this might be one of the ones that's leaked. There we go. Yeah, so I can see inside, you probably can't see on the camera, inside the lid, there is a little bit of on the edge. So glad that I was careful to open that off to the side just in case. But I guess that's the case with any pen, isn't it? I mean, they might have got a bit jiggled about as I was carrying them back home from the shops. You know, it could have been in transit to the shops. Hopefully, I guess, as I use them, they're hopefully not going to splatter everywhere anymore. So this does feel a little bit scratchy on the paper, I guess, because of the glitter. Although this is the metallic one, but it is just still look as if it's got a bit of glitter in there to make it metallic. So it doesn't feel that nice. It doesn't feel horrible on the paper, but it does kind of feel a bit scratchy on the paper. So let's just have a little look. So we can see, obviously the green and the brown was definitely alcohol markers, so you know that was obviously going to leak through. The metallic pen that I used hasn't leaked through, but the little red bit was a glitter marker, which it does say it is water based. Let me just double check the packaging. Yeah, water ink on the glitter ones, and these glitter are the same as the glitter ones that were in the you know, bigger kind of pre-pack set. So the glitter one, although it says it's water based, it has definitely gone through. So I think I will stick with these pens being very much in my single-sided books just for safety. So I don't want to ruin any of my books. But I'm really, really pleased with those. It doesn't leave a very smooth finish. So like I said, I'm not sure whether I would rebuy these metallic ones. Maybe I'll use them just for little details here and there rather than colouring larger areas. But they are a nice colour. I'll definitely use them up. Just probably won't bother rebuying them. And then as I end up with empty gaps in this big set, once these glitter and metallic ones are maybe used up, I could move some of my alcohol markers from this big tin over into that stand, just so that it's a bit better for storage on my desk. But having said that, this tin could be quite nice if you were going away for the weekend and you're going in the car. This wouldn't take up too much room in the car. You could fasten it. You wouldn't have to worry about it the pens getting battered and damaged while you were travelling. So it might be useful for me to save the tin anyway. But like I said, I'm really, really pleased with these. I think compared to the Works pens, these are much, much better value, much better quality, especially with being a lovely brush tip and the shape of them being triangular. Feels really, really nice to hold. So would thoroughly recommend these, especially this big 40 set for £15, because the colours that you get in them is just amazing. There's a lovely, nice selection there. Plenty to colour a page with. Yes, there's another couple of colours you might want to add to it, but you know, that's definitely more than enough for somebody getting started. Or if, you know, like I said, if you were going away for the weekend, that would be plenty. You could definitely colour a page with that and not be lacking anything and thinking, oh, I'm going to have to finish that when I get back because I've not got the colour I want. You've got plenty of choice there, haven't you? So perfect value. So I can't include, I don't think I'll be able to include links to these DecoTime pens. I said definitely I'll pick them up in the B&M, and I'm sure you can buy them from the range, and I think you can buy them in other countries as well. I don't think it's unique to B&M as far as I'm aware. But I will include a link to this Cozy Escapes colouring book in my description box below. Be an Amazon affiliate link. So if you purchase via it, it won't cost you anything extra, but it will help to support the channel. There's some lovely cute pages in there. That one's just adorable, isn't it, with the Eiffel Tower in the background. Nice range of locations and everything in there. And I've been working on this little, it says it's a colour test page, but I thought it was quite sweet just to have a little play and a bit more of a practice trying to add different textures to the fur and the feathers and things, because I'm still very much getting used to my alcohol markers. I normally just stick to block colouring, so a bit of trial and error there for me. But anyway, enough of me waffling on. If you would like, though, to do a buddy colour in this book, please drop me a comment down below because it would be nice to hear from you. So does anybody have these DecoTime pens? What do you think of them? Do you like them? Do you not like them? Are you going to be giving them a go? Having watched my video, drop me a comment down below. Obviously, as always, thank you for watching. Please click subscribe, like and comment. It would mean a lot to me if you would consider subscribing. It's quite a new channel still, and obviously trying to, you know, get my videos out to as many people as possible. So thank you for joining me today. Take care, everyone, and catch you in the next one.